Hello there, I'm Lloyd Evans. Welcome to the bunker. It's time for another voicemail. Today's voicemail is from an anonymous caller. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Hello, Lloyd. I will first take this opportunity to say that you're a very intelligent and well-spoken individual, and I thoroughly enjoy your channel. Anyway, I sent this message out today just to ask, do you think Jehovah Witnesses are aware about the stigma surrounding their name? I ask this because I received one of their handwritten letters recently, which is dated, funnily enough. I'm not sure why they would date it. But anyway, the person presents themselves as a volunteer and doesn't actually mention the Bible till quite a few paragraphs down, and doesn't mention Jehovah once within the letter, nor does it mention anything relating to a Bible study or, join their kingdom hall or anything of the matter. In fact, the only thing that cues you in for it to be in the Jehovah Witness letter is the fact that it has the jw.org website link mentioned. So I just figured it's quite strange that they'd be part of a religious organisation but not want to actually speak about what religious organisation they're part of. It's almost if they think that they can get people in easier if they don't know what they're actually signing up for. Because the website link, even, after they mention the website link, they state that, don't worry, it won't download your personal data or anything. Okay, it's not worded quite like that, but it's essentially what they're saying, which I think is quite funny. They also have a personal email that they've sort of mentioned in the letter, which I think is arguably quite dangerous, considering that they've sent their personal email out to a stranger. I mean, I'm not inclined to message them with anything bad. In fact, I'm not going to message them at all, because I take no interest in joining their cult. But it still seems a bit odd. Anyway, I was just curious of your opinion on it, really. Anyway, thank you very much. Oh, and you can absolutely use this message. I have no ties to the organisation anymore, such my grandparents, but they never really respected me anyway. Anyway, thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you for that message. What an insight into the Jehovah's Witness religion and its recruitment tactics, its shady recruitment tactics, and how helpful it is to get a window into what Jehovah's Witness preaching looks like in the COVID era. Because make no mistake, the reason why this letter was sent is because there's no longer any door-to-door preaching in the UK, at least as of now. This voicemail video is being filmed in February 2022, and it's actually a very recent message, just came through in the last few days. So yes, this is a strategy that's being employed by Jehovah's Witnesses, who can no longer go around knocking on people's doors, quite responsibly, it must be said, due to social distancing and, dealing with things responsibly in the face of a pandemic. And they're instead writing people letters and emails and sending messages to anyone in their phone book who's not baptized or whatever. And yeah, that's why you've received this letter. Under normal circumstances, if there were not a pandemic, I don't think you would have received this letter. But how interesting that they're not upfront and honest about who they are and what they want. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? If it were really an organization that has nothing to be ashamed of and has a completely clean reputation in terms of abuse and in terms of the covering up of child abuse and shunning and treatment of apostates and blood transfusions and all of the things that are coming to light in the media, particularly over the last few years. If not for all of that, you can bet they would have been more open and more upfront and at least used the word Jehovah in the email rather than being so cagey and so sneaky. I guess they can't hide the fact that it's Jehovah's Witnesses in the website, because it's literally jw.org. There's the logo behind me. But yeah, what does it say about a group that has to be this underhanded when it comes to their recruitment? Now, you ask, are they aware of the stigma? I think if you were to ask them about it, if you had an opportunity, and I don't suggest you do confront them, I think you're very wise to not reply to the letter. But if you were to engage with them and ask them, why haven't you been upfront? Why haven't you said, I'm Joe Smith and I'm one of your local Jehovah's Witnesses and I'm here to give you an encouraging message? Why haven't you been upfront and said something like that? They would say something along the lines of, well, we wanted to make our message as positive and relevant to the current times as possible and not confuse you into thinking that we want you to join an organization. They would come up with any number of excuses. I don't think that they consciously, deliberately set out to mislead. I think with any cult, the ends justify the means, and they will come up with their own reasoning as to why they need to lead into a dialogue with you or a correspondence exchange without being upfront at the beginning. An example would be when I was a Jehovah's Witness, we had a range of publications that we could conceivably offer people on the doorstep. But I would always pick the one that was least shocking, that didn't have grim pictures of Armageddon, or that was as least culty as possible. I would always pick something that gave me more chance of getting my message across. And in their minds, it's all about getting a foot in the door. In this case, that's more of a metaphor because it's a letter. They want to get a foot in the door, and they're hoping that once a conversation starts, then they can start to introduce more of who they are, what they're about, and why you should be thinking about studying with them. Make no mistake, that is the whole point of their preaching work. It's to start a Bible study with you, and it's to recruit you into the faith. But no matter what justifications they make among themselves, and I did that as a Jehovah's Witness, I would justify it or try to justify it. It amounts to being sneaky. It amounts to tricking people into thinking that it's just a friendly letter to start a bilateral conversation in which ideas are exchanged. It's not purely about them preaching to you. They want you to think that. They want you to think it's not just about converting you to being a Jehovah's Witness, even though it is. And what does it say about an organization that conducts itself in that way? I'm really glad you left this message, if only so that people can see that this is what Jehovah's Witnesses are doing. This is the way they are going about their recruitment. And maybe an actual Jehovah's Witness might watch this video, I hope, and think, you know what, there's a point there, What does it say about our religion if this is the way we're handling things? Shouldn't we be proud? Shouldn't we be leading with, we're Jehovah's Witnesses? You may have heard bad things about us, but we have the truth and we can prove it to you. If you're really proud and if you really, really believe you have the truth, shouldn't you be proud in a letter like this, where you're introducing yourself to a stranger for the first time? So thank you so much for calling in with your message. If you would like to leave a voicemail, the thing to do is go to speakpipe.com/Cedars, remembering to indicate clearly if you don't want me to broadcast your message. But that's all I have time for. Thank you so much for watching.